He or she who pays the piper calls the tune. So it's as close as I could get to a piper. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and our money-related idiom for the month of November is he who pays the piper calls the tune. Now, this is one of those idioms. It's also a proverb that's been around since the 17th century. It was first recorded in English in 1605 in English, and it's believed that it is tied to the Pied Piper of Hamelin. Remember that story about the Pied Piper who, to get revenge, to exact revenge on the community, he played his pipe and he had all the children follow him away. Now, we're not sure what happened to the children in that story, but it probably wasn't anything good when he lured them away as an act of revenge. So what does this mean today? This means that the person who's got the money bag and is paying the expenses of something is the one that gets to decide the rules or the regulations or the way the money is spent, the way it's handled, the way the project is done. I think a lot in terms of companies that do studies or hire consultants to do work for them. They get to dictate what they want the outcomes to be, what they want to be the results of the expenses that they pay. We do this in our businesses all the time. We hire specialists and consultants to do specific tasks for us, and as part of that, we get to dictate the scope of the work, what they do, how much they do, when we want it done by, etc. It reminds me of different industries that have supposedly scientific studies done in order to prove, I think, thinking pharmaceutical industry or the food industry or OSHA, that have companies that actually pay to do the research that determines whether they get approvals or not through the government. Now, the government is the only example that I can think of people who make the rules that don't actually pay the price. A lot of times they don't even follow those same rules. But that's a topic for another day. So how and where have you seen this type of a principle? He who pays the piper calls the tune. He who pays the bills gets to write their own ticket. I've seen it in the FDA, the USDA, OSHA, the pharmaceutical industry, different industries I've been a part of. I've seen it a lot where companies will be the leaders of that industry's technical committees or oversight committees, and they get to write the rules for everybody else. Now, if you're a great big player and you're part of the process of writing those rules, it's a huge advantage. It's a huge competitive advantage for your business in that particular industry. I saw it a lot in the food industry. I saw it a lot in the personal care industry. I've seen it in a lot of industries, and I've been on the upside of helping to create and write those processes and procedures and systems for certain industries, and it is by no means a level playing field. So we don't want to convince ourselves that it is. We just need to know that that goes on and that we're aware of it. So where in your business, where in your industry, where in the world have you seen this played out? He who pays the piper, or she, or whatever your pronouns are, whoever, some entity, can be a human, could be an institution, could be a university, could be a business, could be a nonprofit organization, whatever, could be a scientific community, could be a government that's paying the bills. And if they're paying the bills, guess what? They get to say how the research is done, how the results are recorded, whether they're recorded or not. COVID is a huge example of this, and he who pays the piper gets to decide what they are and are not going to report. So, curious what your experience with this particular idiom has been. I've had a lot of experience with this, knowing who's paying the bills has control over the process, and we don't necessarily like it, but we also need to remember that we have to deal with the world we live in and figure out how we're going to respond, what kind of character we're going to show up as, how our business is going to interact with the rest of the world in order to create what it is that we want in the world. And hopefully it's to make the world a better place. That's my purpose. Most of the people I talk to and all the people I work with, that's their overarching intent and purpose as well. Otherwise, somebody else can help them, right? I'm just helping people that want to change the world in a positive way. Any questions, you can direct message me on this particular video if you happen to be on Facebook, Supersize Your Business page. Otherwise, if you have questions, concerns, comments, you can share them below, or you can Google me and find me on the internet, and I can answer your questions to the best of my ability. If there's an idiom related to money that you would like to know this month in November, hit me up. Otherwise, I've got a whole bunch of them that I'm just choosing from randomly to talk about every day. And I think this is a great way to start the week, keeping in mind that we control what we can control. We have plans in place to deal with the things that we can't control. And we keep in mind that there are always going to be things that we have absolutely zero control over. And it's up to us as business owners and business builders and examples for the rest of the world to best determine how to respond and reflect and behave given those circumstances. Have an awesome day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.